According to the Buddha's teaching, doubt, vicikiccha, is one of the five hindrances, nivarana, to the clear understanding of truth and to spiritual progress, or, for that matter, to any progress. Doubt, however, is not a sin because there are no articles of faith in Buddhism. In fact, there is no sin in Buddhism, as sin is understood in some religions. The root of all evil is ignorance, avijja, and false views, miccha ditthi. It is an undeniable fact that, as long as there is doubt, perplexity, wavering, no progress is possible. It is also equally undeniable that there must be doubt as long as one does not understand or see clearly. But in order to progress further, it is absolutely necessary to get rid of doubt. To get rid of doubt, one has to see clearly. There is no point in saying that one should not doubt or one should believe. Just to say I believe does not mean that you understand and see. When a student works on a mathematical problem, he comes to a stage beyond which he does not know how to proceed, and where he is in doubt and perplexity. As long as he has this doubt, he cannot proceed. If he wants to proceed, he must resolve this doubt, and there are ways of resolving that doubt. Just to say I believe or I do not doubt will certainly not solve the problem. To force oneself to believe and to accept a thing without understanding is political and not spiritual or intellectual. The Buddha was always eager to dispel doubt. Even just a few minutes before his death, he requested his disciples several times to ask him if they had any doubts about his teaching, and not to feel sorry later that they could not clear those doubts. But the disciples were silent. What he said them was touching. If it is through respect for the teacher that you do not ask anything, let every one of you inform his friend. That is to say, let one tell his friend so that the latter may ask the question on the other's behalf. Not only the freedom of thought, but also the tolerance allowed by the Buddha is astonishing to the student of the history of religions. Once Saint Nalanda, a prominent and wealthy householder named Upali, a well-known lay disciple of Nikanta Nadabuddha, Jina Mahavira, was expressly sent by Mahavira himself to meet the Buddha and defeat him in argument on certain points in the theory of karma, because the Buddha's view on the subject were different from those of Mahavira. Quite contrary to expectation, Upali, at the end of the discussion, was convinced that the views of the Buddha were right and those of his master were wrong. So he begged the Buddha to accept him as one of his lay disciples, Upasaka. But the Buddha asked him to reconsider it and not to be in a hurry, for considering carefully is good for a well-known man like you. When Upali expressed his desire again, the Buddha requested him to continue to respect and support his old religious teachers as he used to. In the 3rd century BC, the great Buddhist Emperor Asoka of India, following this noble example of tolerance and understanding, honored and supported all other religions in his vast empire. In one of his edicts carved on the rock, the original of which one may read even today, the emperor declared, one should not honor only one's own religion and condemn the religions of others, but one should honor others' religions for this or that reason. So doing, one helps one's own religion to grow and render service to the religions of others too. In acting otherwise, one digs the grave of one's own religion and also does harm to other religions. Whosoever honors his own religion and condemns other religions does so indeed through devotion to his own religion, thinking, I will glorify my own religion. But on the contrary, in so doing, he injures his own religion more gravely. So concord is good. Let all listen and be willing to listen to the doctrines professed by others. We should adhere that this spirit of sympathetic understanding has been, from the beginning, one of the most cherished ideals of Buddhist culture and civilization. That is why there is not a single example of persecution or the shedding of a drop of blood in converting people to Buddhism, or in its propagation during its long history of 2,500 years. It spread peacefully all over the continent of Asia, having more than 500 million adherents today. Violence in any form, under any pretext whatsoever, is absolutely against the teaching of the Buddha. The question has often asked, is Buddhism a religion or a philosophy? It does not matter what you call it. Buddhism remains what it is, whatever label you may put on it. The label is immaterial. Even the label Buddhism, which we give to the teaching of the Buddha, is of little importance. The name one gives it is inessential. What's in a name? That which we call a rose, by other name, would smell as sweet. In the same way, truth needs no label. It is neither Buddhist, Christian, Hindu, nor Muslim. It is not the monopoly of anybody. Sectarian labels are a hindrance to the independent understanding of truth, and they produce harmful prejudice in man's mind. Thank you.